For many of us, St. Patrick's Day is all about green beer and corned beef and cabbage, but there's more to know about this festive date. Dr. Jonathan Carroll tells us the real story of St. Patrick's Day. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning to you.
So we are celebrating, as Americans uniquely do, wearing our green and our green beer. But what is the story behind the story?
Well, funny enough, green didn't even become associated with St. Patrick's Day until the 1700s, which I know seems like a long time ago. But considering the fact that St. Patrick was born in the 4th century, it went a long time without being associated with green. The reality is St. Patrick was not Irish. He was born in Wales. He was born in a family where the father was a Christian deacon, one of the earliest Christians in the British Isles, but probably more Christian for tax purposes, actually, than there's no historical reckoning of the fact that his family was particularly religious. But what happened, Irish raiders invaded his father's compound and his family estate, and they kidnapped him at 16 years old. And took him back to Ireland, where he was forced under slavery to be basically a herdsman, a shepherd of sorts. And I think he was a prisoner for about 6 years, had a dream that there was going to be a ship waiting for him to take him back to Britain, which that's how they divided that then. And in fact, he escaped in the middle of the night, ran or walked 200 miles and got himself to a coast. In fact, there was a ship that took him back. And then pretty soon after, he had a dream that he needed to go back to the Irish kidnappers. And he didn't want to do that without any education. So it took him 15 years to be educated to the extent that he felt ready. And he ended up going in his early 30s back to Ireland to be a missionary. So some people think he brought Christianity to the British Isles, but obviously it was already pre-existing him. Actually, Patrick was not a saint. He was never officially canonized. That wasn't a thing in the early church. And so he is kind of by public acclamation a saint, but he himself was never officially canonized. So it's amazing how all these things happen. You know, there's the story of him making all the snakes leave Ireland. Of course, that's a legend. That didn't happen. Hope that doesn't upset anybody's St. Patrick's Day plans. If it does, drink more beer, you will forget. So at the end of the day, the legends are almost more interesting than truth, but Patrick was ultimately became a person of faith and leaned into that faith to go back to the people who kidnapped him and made a life and a faith and a family with those people. So it's actually a beautiful story.
It really is, and so we can just salute that and celebrate it with a green beer.
Absolutely. Raise your pints to St. Patrick's. Absolutely. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Listen, Jonathan, thank you so much. It's really an interesting story. I was a little disappointed about the snake part, though, but thank you for sharing the story.
Sorry about that. Yeah, thank you, too.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, my friend.
Take care. You, too.
We'll be back with more Lifestyles right after this. Stick around.